All right, the Shock Pod is live.
It's alive! Enter the shock pod at your own risk.
Presented by HorrorShock Media. This is a horror punk and shock rock podcast.
We're back after a short hiatus. We're back with more Shock Pods. This is a very special episode. Everybody here on this particular episode played a part in making what I think should be talked about as one of the more creative and cooler horror punk releases of the last year. And we're going to talk about that. I think we're shifting gears from what Shock Pod was a little bit. I had an idea of what those first few episodes were to be, and they were really cool, but they were kind of clunky. And I think that it's a cooler idea to sort of deep dive into our own works, label works, as well as like label favorites and other albums like that. So for this particular episode, we are joined by Zipperguts himself, Mr. Jared Lord. Say hello, sir.
Hello, everybody.
We are going to be discussing the fine piece of work that is Zipperguts' Books of Blood, available now on HorrorShock Records. This album came to be over a fairly long period of time, and I think that everybody really put their heart and soul into it and made something really cool. I can't wait to dive into it. Jared, what's the genesis of this record? Where does this record begin for you?
Well, so about 2 years ago, I had an idea. I wanted to do a set of EPs, right? That would pay homage to horror and, the brutal lyrics that I write. And so, like Clive Barker, it was going to be Books of Blood, Volume 1, Volume 2, so on. But I decided in the process of writing these songs, this was something bigger than just a couple EPs. This was a story being told, and it needed to be told in its entirety.
Yeah, and I think you went sort of manically into creating it. Like, this stuff came into my inbox as it was created, and often only partially created, and it came sort of so fast in like little bursts that it was almost overwhelming. Like, did you feel like once you really sat into what this was going to be, that it just all kind of came together, or were you working your butt off to make it flow like that?
Well, to be honest, the flow initially wasn't there. But after, really taking some time to think about where I wanted this to go, like half of the songs were already written by that point. But it was through a lot of creative, organizing that I was able to make these, more of a tale and less of just a group of songs that kind of shared similarities.
I fell in love with the idea right away. I also was a fan of the Clive Barker stuff. And I think that Zipperguts, before we go too deep into the record, I want you to give like the nutshell of what Zipperguts is and what this album is, to like the commoner who's not like a horror punk fan, because we can sit here and go Cancer Slug, Midnight, The Misfits, Motorhead, boom, there you go. That's where the Sonics start, and then the twisted, demented perspective of this person shining lights into dark corners or whatever. Like,
Right.
how do you sell Zipperguts when you're at the office function with the missus or something like that? Like, when you run into a straight person, tell me what this is.
So essentially, what Zipperguts is it is a musical project that uses vulgarity and abrasive music to point out my personal dissatisfaction with humanity. I feel like humanity is far more of a monster than any cryptid could ever be. And so Zipperguts is my vehicle to announce that.
That's awesome, dude.
And Books of Blood, I think, tells the story of that very, very well. So let's we're joined here today by Mr. Cory Ryherd from the Creepy Crawlers. Cory
Hey, guys.
Cory also came to the project early to lend some of his talents. So before we get into it again, for me, uh, I had heard your music. It resonated with me. It reminded me of music I had made when I was younger, that like I wasn't waiting around to get into like the high-end studio or to figure out Pro Tools or how's that bass drop going to work in my horror punk ballad or anything like that. I had like urgent stuff that I needed to turn into art now. It's a compulsion to make it. I heard that in your music, and I, over my many years, have figured out how to polish that in my own work. And I wanted to take it upon myself to help you realize your vision and like take care of the polished stuff that gets lost on the artist, because you could sit and spend 4 times as much time on your song yourself and dissect every little note of it, and should I put a synth pad behind this or not? But that's going to ruin your creative process. So I was there to take these things and give them the cinematic soundtrack, I guess, that accompanies your directorial vision on this. So I came to it from that. Like I wanted to make the fucking Zipperguts Sergeant Pepper's record with you, and I think that we came pretty darn close. I don't know if it's quite the
Absolutely.
Sergeant Pepper's of horror punk. I'm not going to make that statement on our show today, but I feel pretty damn proud of this work.
Killer.
So,
Yeah.
The CD or vinyl edition or the streaming on your choice of platform starts with track 1, which is sort of an introduction that we called preface or preface. I don't say that word out loud enough to even pronounce it.
It's
I would go
preface.
with preface is what I would, yeah. You know.
Okay.
But
Yep,
preface
it's preface.
also is
Preface is good because you could rhyme it with crevice.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, you know.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that track. I happen to know that that track actually came into existence at the end of everything. It's the beginning of the album, but it's, I believe, the last thing that was touched, right?
It was the very last track that we threw together, and so I was trying to kind of pen a really cool introduction, and I overthought it and long-winded it, and so your request, well, not really a request, your suggestion, I should say, you were like, hey, let's try to shorten it up a little bit and do something else. And so I enlisted my girlfriend, who's credited as Sally Rhubarb on the credits. And we have a deep dive that goes along with that we can talk about later. But she plays the victim in the background while I'm explaining what the hell I'm doing.
It's awesome. I'm going to try and play it. I don't know if we can all hear it when I play it.
They called me a killer, a pervert,
Why don't you just
a
let me
freak.
go?
But I'm an author. It's just that I
What did
write
I
my
do to
books
deserve this?
in blood.
Just like a super short, perfect little intro. I think it was important to make that thing like initially this album has a manifesto feel to it. It's very much
absolutely.
like this is my manifesto, or like the diary of this person on their spiral or whatever. And this any horror punk person that has listened to some of the bands we mentioned before could start at track 2 as track 1, and this would be an enjoyable album. But I think that introduction sets this in the realm of like, this is now not a record anymore. This is like
Right.
7 or 8mm or Saw or whatever they've seen, because again, sometimes appealing to the people that aren't of the scene is a far more fun challenge than appealing to people that have the same patches as us on our vests. So I think this intro here, what Sally Rhubarb was able to provide and what you were able to pull out in the way that you deliver it, it's rad. Like this ties people
Thank you.
into it and they go, we're on a ride now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's more than just an album with music. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Right, yeah.
Yeah, we're coming into the haunted ride now, and the introduction is happening here, or the film, or whatever. And so it goes straight into the tom tom drums of Trash Panda. Then,
Yes.
tell me about the origin of that. So that might be one of the earliest songs in this that I experienced. I think this is one of the first ones.
Yeah, I would say that there's two tracks on there that are complete redos of earlier songs, but Trash Panda was the first really original one for this album. And initially, we released it on HorrorShock 2, Shockwaves Volume 2. And with this one, I had a really cool, idea with it. As far as the lore of the album, this is our protagonist, whatever the hell you want to call it. This is a guy stumbling across a dead body out in the alley, and it kind of triggers him to go on this sudden spree that he ends up going on. This is the catalytic moment where he's like, oh shit, this is a dead body. I kind of like this. And then what we had was great. And then Chad, you came in with the organ on that, and that like completely changed the whole thing in a great way.
That was my first lean into Sergeant Pepperizing your work. There was to put like a 60s circusy Doors meets Funhouse keyboard organ on there.
It perfectly, it made it that much better.
Some of the vibe that it's got, like it's ferocious, but it's also, like I said, a little fun house, and it's a little like I think that you capture well the sort of like psychedelic headiness of a person tripping out on finding something like that. And it's like, the way that the music pushes, I was like, I gotta put like 60s organs on this and make this thing like, this is like a demented Louie Louie almost. Like this is like, this has this like self-propelling, like once it gets going, it doesn't have to stop kind of thing. And like that, I always like that about 60s garage rock. The creepier stuff had the weird organ. I like that. And so from that song, yeah, and we did, you're right, we released that on Shockwaves 2, and it actually got good review. Like I think it was Andy from Black Angel said something to the effect of like, it was almost off-putting at first, but he found himself like re-listening to it again and again, which is like,
That was the dude that coined the term grindhouse punk, right?
well, did Jared himself has coined that term.
Coined it.
Or
Oh, Jared, that's a beautiful freaking term, man.
I think
it's a great way to describe what Zipperguts is.
yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, for sure, I think yeah, we all get, if we all are calling ourselves the same things and doing the same things, you get sucked into dogmas and traditions that messes with your art. It's fine to step in the waters of all kinds of different things, and I think that Zipperguts is like, you're such a scene supporter, like as a person, as a band, and as a human being. You're like, you're just a massive supporter of all things horror rock in general, but especially the really good shit.
Yeah.
And then I think sometimes because your music has been created in such a way that has like it's what I love about it, like Gigi Allen has this sort of like, we found this tape recorder and made this thing. this guitar is plugged directly into my laptop
Right.
and I'm screaming my heart out into it. Like I love that. That's like the Delta blues to me.
Right.
Like that's beautiful. But I think a lot of people, if they don't hear, if they call themselves horror punk and they don't hear a Graves era Misfits production on something, they
Right.
don't, it's not, they can't listen to it with their
Yeah.
girlfriend
Yeah,
or their
like
boyfriend
I get
or
what you're saying. Like even like
grandmother.
as a teenager getting into punk rock and stuff, like this is the mid late '90s, what have you, and there's plenty of punk rock or metal out there with like professional production, but for whatever reason, I was drawn to this stuff that was 20 years older. You know what I mean? Like that
Mhm.
that older production quality, like that. I don't know. We said Gigi Allen, like through a cassette or what.
Or Earth AD. Like I like Earth AD.
Like-
I'm like
it's
I
just
like
something
that.
about it. It just that raw aspect. It doesn't sound as polished. I just think that grit just makes it just heavy,
It's
man.
like
Yeah, like it's heavy to me. Like
And
it's
it's
just
I
that's
think it's
awesome. Yeah.
I think it's the choice of like a filmmaker too, that like we were talking about like a 7 or 8 millimeter or Saw or whatever
Mhm.
dark grindhouse mainstreamish title you can think of. They went back and they used film stocks or film looks that are gritty and grainy and have the feeling of like old New York, like grindhouse or porn kind
Right.
of look to
Mhm.
it to make you feel a little like if you show a modern child an old black and white Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, it kind of freaks them out because it's black and white and it's weird. And
Mhm.
once
And
you
it's
show them something in
off-putting
color,
because that's not what they're used to.
right?
Right.
So like the palette that you've used all along has been, um, you know, one of the things that's made you stand out to me, but it's also probably one of the things that's slowed down any kind of mass acceptance of your stuff. But
Right.
I think that that's exactly what your stuff's about. It's about like, I when I discovered thrash, it was like that shit like Kill 'Em All scared me. Like I heard Kill 'Em All and it scared me. I heard he sells, but who's buying? And it scared me.
Right.
Among the Living scared me.
Right.
The Earth AD
Earth AD,
scared the
dude,
crap out of me.
And that distortion coming in.
November Coming Fire.
Oh.
Like, what is this? This is a satanic ritual.
Sandman 3 was just the spooky vibes.
This is
Yeah.
recorded in a crypt. You know what I mean? Like, this is a
Mhm.
marble room.
Dark fucking cave.
That's
like, yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's also not going to get played on your local radio.
No.
So I think that's something that Zippergut stands for. Although I do want to push the edges of that on the next thing that we do. So we're gonna get to
absolutely.
like a Zipperguts on tour with like 5 Seconds of Summer maybe, or Green Day.
Let's do it.
Probably not. But so we go straight from Trash Panda into Smile, which starts with another cool drum break and then like a 80s. That is you on that one, right? The 80s guitar. Or is that who's the 80s guitar? Is that you, Jared?
I believe that's me there.
At the beginning of Smile? I love that little hook.
And I think that's got the closest thing I ever do to a wall on this whole thing when I tell it shout out myself.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. Like this thing starts with the like it's got a very like I guess 90s grunge kind of production on that. Like that could be an L7 recording. Like how the guitar goes kind of compressed and tiny and then it just boom kicks in and explodes. And it almost has a Beach Boys ballad-esque shape to the whole song. Like where does that song originate? How does that song come together? When you're putting together these songs, do you have a concept for the lyrics and then go build drum stems, or do you go to the bass or guitar?
Typically, every time I write a song, it starts off with just lyrics, and I play around, try to find a tempo and beat that I kind of can write to, and then from there I start adding instruments to it and just kind of letting the vibe flow. One thing of note with Smile Outside of Trash Panda, that is pretty much the only song that does not involve our main character killing somebody, and that's why it's where it's at in the track listing. Because Trash Panda finds a dead body, it drives something in his brain. Next stop is Smile, and here he's getting demented and twisted in his brain. He's not quite violent enough to take a life yet, but he's getting there.
The progression. And so then we get to what was so Trash Panda is technically the first single from the album because it was on Shockwaves. So the second single from the album would have been Shallow Grave, which we put out sometime ahead of the album. And that one got some kind words from people. And I'm gonna kick that one on. Are you on that one, Core Boy?
I think I am on Shallow
Core
Grave.
Boy's on this one too. I'm gonna play it for a second.
Blindly running, lost in the dark. The sound of footsteps and your thundering heart. You clawed your way out of your shallow grave. Can you escape me? Can you be saved? It's time to die, get in your shallow grave. You're good.
So this song is awesome, and it's just a head bobber, and it's such a lush layer of guitars and fuzz, and
Yeah, I mean, the rhythm on that, it's kind of like it reminds me of like I don't know how to describe it, like a wave, like it's just going one way to the other. I remember when I got on the track, it's like dun 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 bum 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 bum. Well, I thought when it was coming back, I was like, let's drop the root a half step, and then slide it down the whole chord, and that just adds that dissonance. One of my favorite thing in music, dissonance, man. I use it a lot in what I write, and so a lot of the times when I collaborate on something, you're gonna get either dissonance or something major and happy, major chords. I don't know, I'm weird, but with this one, that felt like that was gonna be the ticket, and it just adds a little fatness or texture. I don't know, it makes it something more. You know what I mean? It beefs it up a little bit, throwing that little half step on the root, right? That's what I did. That's my big, I think, what I remember doing a lot for that one. And then also you can hear there's another layer, and I think that might be Chad. It could be me, but it sounds very Chad, unless it's you. But there's also
so
a
when
layer.
I did like the main riff, and then there's like that high pitch meow, meow, and that was something I added in myself.
All right.
And so the whole thing is like in my mind as I'm reading this, I'm picturing a John Carpenter film. And so I was kind of
totally
channeling my inner
that.
John Carpenter, and
That's another thing. That's just another layer of guitars that and you having that in your head and saying you wanted that there was an excellent choice, because it just adds an eerie sense to it, and it makes it, like you said, Carpenter. You know what I mean? Yeah, good choice, man.
well, and so there's so much about this song that goes to, I'm sacrilegious and say Sam Hain and not Sal Wynn, but Glenn Danzig, Sam Hain, there's so much Sam Hain genetics in this song. And that comes in different ways that are not real obvious that anybody's trying to mimic that thing. But there's so much about that band that owes to the first Halloween movie, and the Carpenter vibe. That's part of what Misfits to Sam Hain is him moving from Night of the Living Dead to
more
you know,
serious
a more,
note.
yeah,
Yeah.
the thorn, and you know, this whole like satanic uh root story that Carpenter was so good at weaving. So there's weird, like, I don't want to get too deep philosophically, but like in Crowley Thelema world, this would be a current. We're on a current. Like when you hear these tones together, you pick up that current, and that current includes John Carpenter's Halloween. It includes uh, Danzig's Sam Hain period specifically. It includes certain grunge stuff like Tad and Mud Honey, like Green River, that bendy guitar string kind of thing. That's like that's that sound of and it's like it's very much the sound of like a reeling band of like almost Clockwork Orange style guys. Just we're going through this alley toppling trash cans and like what a, you know, it's that kind of like Corey's talking about the wave. There's this wave to it, and that's like, even if this guy's working alone and doing what he's doing, which is, you know, burying her in a shallow grave or whatever, like there's that feeling of this like drunken sort of,
Yeah.
and it's just, yeah, it's bacchanalian. But that song just rules. I know, and I'll throw it in there. I know that Sean Browning from Grave Robber gave you a good compliment on that. You don't have to quote him directly or anything like that, but I know that's a guy that respects a melodic polish, and he heard something that he really liked in there, and so that's super high praise.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. So, and then we go from the sort of poetic and somber tones of Shallow Grave into Grandma's favorite track, Not Too Dead to Fuck, which I'm gonna play a second of. With the drum set just swelling up. So this song is just reeling out of control MC5 Stooges, transgressive, Motorhead, just amazingness. Tell me where this, did you have just that idea for that slogan, that song title, that perfect t-shirt? That's the back of a Cradle of Filth t-shirt. I'm certain of it. Not really.
Yeah, it was when I first started, writing music. Not Too Dead was the first song that I released, and the early versions are horrific. I had no idea what I was doing, but you know what? I was having fun doing it, so I didn't care. But the version on the album is the most polished version. It is equal parts disgusting and delicious, because it is a straight up punk track that you can carry with your grandma and your grandpa, and they will just love it.
Yeah, this is absolutely safe for work.
Yeah.
Not really. Are you
And
on
also
that?
shout out to Draven Valentine, because he's the one that did the drums on that.
Young Draven? I hope he's well. And then we go from Not Too Dead's frenetic energy into the full-on psychosis rock of Maggots, which starts with what I think is a sample of RFK Jr., if I'm not...
my brain. There's maggots in my
I'm
brain.
just kidding about that. It's not
There's
RFK.
maggots in my brain.
Well, didn't he have a worm in his brain?
I mean, no, I just, I thought that was funny.
He has an apple for a head. He has a worm in his brain. It starts with the sample, sort of the there's maggots in my brain, and then it goes into that song. Tell me a little bit about that one. Where does that one start? Who all's on that?
So that one, I'm not 100%. I think both you and Corey did some guitar on that one, but I'm not positive. So I know I sent in my, everything I sent in is bare bones technically. And you guys worked some magic, and I cannot always remember which one of you did what.
So our next Creepy Crawlers album shares a genetics with your album in that we were working on it at the same time as your album. So there was a lot of like, here, do some stuff on this, and do you want to do some stuff on this? And then there was a lot of stuff that you had that the rough raw master was the best performance, I thought. There's a lot of these songs where nothing new is added, although sometimes I will do some studio wizardry, not in regards to there's no auto tuning, there's no anything like that on this whole thing, but like in regards to like making a guitar sound fatter and fuller, reamping it or
Right.
running it through.
Yeah, he does that with me, man.
Yeah, Cory, whatever Cory plays on the Creepy Crawlers record, he's not sure it's really going to sound like that. I like to listen to things. There are certain places where guitars need to be squeezed through a little teeny tiny amplifier, like a headphone, and mic up that headphone for like the most buzzy B sound. Or a guitar might need to be fattened up by making it 4 layers wide,
Right.
and putting compressions on. I do weird stuff where I like kill EQ in all but 1 or 2 areas and then compress those, and it makes the guitar sound like, I call them caterpillar guitars, like they're just bigger and fuzzier, and none of this sounds like modern, um you know pop oriented or mainstream radio oriented production. I think we're still working in the realm of like DIY home recorded stuff. When I talk about the level that I've produced this, I'm doing this on very amateur level equipment, just with 30 years worth of gizmos and gadgets and ideas laying around to do this, to this level.
It's like taking mayhem and remastering it.
Yeah. Well, and there were things like, you have developed a very good um, pop orientation in as far as like a classic Beatles, Beach Boys rock and roll song shape, with the shock being in the texture and the lyrical color. You know what I mean? You've developed a really tight version of that. And so when I would find places where that was off, I would edit those things. And that's the places where those were off are kind of, actually, I want to talk about this. There are beautiful moments when you listen to Prince, because Prince recorded himself. So Prince would sit down with a song idea in his head, and he would tap out the drums on a Linn drum machine, and then he would go jump over on bass and do the bass for the whole song one take, then go over to the piano and sit down and do the song on piano, and then go to the guitar, etc., to the vocals. And then you have this run out at the end of a song or in the middle of a song where like there's just like, we were letting a chord hang, and like I kind of fooled around on the bass and did this thing, and then I did this with the guitar, and there's like little magic moments in some of those like radio hits that he did, but there's very few artists that are allowed to do that, like so there's some of those moments on this that I made sure were maintained, but then there's some of those moments on this that I like trimmed, and to give the best impact for like the new listener. Like, so thinking like I can't do it to my own babies well enough, so I was able to learn to do it to yours. Like, it's hard to get that, like, oh, that's a slick little 2-second thing right there, but it totally slows down this thing, and there's like the we need a whiplash appeal here to like keep a person going and have them not click past it on Spotify or whatever, which is a terrible thing to say on a certain level, but it's a reality. We want people to stay till the end of these things, like in a good movie or book. And so I made some decisions in there that I hope you always supported it all along. Any edits that I did, I maintained the integrity of your work, and just sort of like pruned an edge or two here or there. And but some of these things
there was like the prune would have been the absolute wrong move. And I think some of those are more toward the end here. But this one definitely, we go from maggots. Was there anything else you want to say about maggots? I think I went off on a long tangent there.
Well, you're good. So basically with maggots, that's like probably the very first time that I related something that was maybe a part of my life into a Zipperguts song. Because for me with maggots, the long and short of it is it's just a metaphor for intrusive thoughts.
Right. Yeah, no, that oh man, I know about those.
So we go from that into the Sweetest Symphony, which I'm going to play for a second here. Another big drum intro.
This is how your world ends. An end to the suffering. This is how your world ends. Your life taken by me. You can run.
This one features some classic Gory Cory dissonance. Very like this has a vibe that almost hits like and not in a cheesy way at all, but like Marilyn Manson, Korn,
Right.
90s, early 2000s hardcore, like some of the even like weirder, like Orange 9mm and stuff
Right.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a rad track, man. Like the first thing I thought of when I heard it was Marilyn Manson, of course. But then again, I was a teenager in the late 90s, and Manson was like the metalist thing on the radio. You know what I mean? And like so like and that's probably maybe that's part of the reason why dissonance is embedded into me, because I did have some Manson discs, but I wasn't like a big Korn guy. But I know they're known for some dissonance and stuff. And I just think I probably heard it from my other metalhead friends that never left their backyard and didn't know anything besides the big guys on the radio. So it probably just got embedded in my head that way. But I love dissonance, man. It's evil.
Yeah, this song has like, and it even actually feels like some of the later Danzig stuff to me, like 7 or 8. It's got that kind of Tommy Victor, like the guitar is very.
I love Tommy Victor too, man. Pong.
There's like good use of noise reduction and this sort of whole vibe. So we go from that one into Last Rites, and Last Rites is almost like a D-beat song, like it's like a discharge type of a thing. Tell me about that track.
Very, very discharge influence. So for that one, story-wise, we got our guys just eat ape shit crazy by this point, and sonically, what I started with was, I guess kind of just a straightforward punk vibe, and then we got GD Fangs to do some solo work on it, and it didn't change it necessarily, but it added some really interesting vibes to it, you could say. And it's one of my more favorite because of how straightforward it is. That's the thing that I like with what I do is I don't do like catchy hooks. I just verse, chorus, here you go, here's my story.
Yeah, but that is the hooks. You know what I mean? That's where the hook lies for you, is in the cadence at which you're delivering it, and it all comes together in a weird. That's one of the things about our type of music and your type of music, is that like it often gets overlooked in the same way that horror as a film genre or bands like Kiss get overlooked by like snobby art people. But like there's so much cool shit going on in this music that is like microtonal atonal, dissonant. Like these are words to describe Ornette Coleman and John Zorn and Miles Davis and the Velvet Underground and cool guy New York no wave bands. You know what I mean? But like because we use the symbolism of death, dismemberment, hard times, we are subjugated in some kind of a way. But I think there's like a path that like we can't help but be on that path, because I'm sure if you could pick up your bass guitar and walk out of the house every weekend and make $3,000 playing in a cover band, that you would instead stay home and make Zipperguts, because that's lame and that's not your path. Like people look at bands like us and they go like, well, if you did some Kenny Loggins, they would love you at the VFW. And it's like, no, I can't. I'm an Gory. Like I follow Mark Ali. Like I'm here to destroy your fabric of reality. You know what I mean? But like we're also nice boys. So instead of showing up at your place and fucking up the fabric of your reality, we make this kind of art about it. So I think Last Rites feels like Discharge. It feels like Motorhead. GD's contribution, he is from the band Hideous Monster. I don't think you said the band name. His contribution throws it into like, it's a fast Eddie Clark-ish, like fast lick guitar solo world. That's one of those songs that the ferocity of it didn't need to be messed with by me. Like I amped a few things and I cleaned up a few rough edges. There was some digital stuff here and there that happens in these kind of recording situations that I fixed, but like that song's awesome. And then from Last Rites, we move into what I think is your very most Cradle of Filth t-shirt song title of all time, and that is I Fuck Nuns, which it would be Grandma's other favorite song.
Yep. Absolutely.
Tell me about that. Where does that, are you just sitting in traffic in front of the Catholic school and you think this, like, where does this song title happen?
All right, so what I found interesting is Death or Glory from the Clash spawned that I Fuck Nuns t-shirt, right?
Right.
It's been around since the 70s, and everybody like wears them, but nobody that I was aware of had written a song called I Fuck Nuns, so I'm like, well, you're gonna do it. And what I love, and I think with Zipperguts, I like to use the term juxtaposition, because with this particular song, you've got this really new wavy poppy bass line going on, and then all of a sudden you've got necrophilic, nun fucking happening.
Yeah. I'm going to play that for a second here because I like to. Classic Black Sabbath bell intro.
Oh my god, it's so real.
Big drums. I feel like Rick Beato when I listen to music and talk about it at the same time. Okay. So this song is like a new wave hit. You know what I mean? Like this thing comes in like you said, the juxtaposition is so strong there. That whole thing with the I think when we started, that's you on that guitar.
Yeah, that's all that guitar.
When we started with that, we played with a few different guitar ideas there. And I think that he may have even jokingly played some ska over that part.
I've begun to do that.
And I bear no hatred towards ska people, but I don't like ska, and I try to stay the hell away from it. That's why we don't. I burned out playing with ska bands and rockabilly bands in the Jackalopes. Like, I don't want to hear a stand-up bass, and I don't want to hear a horn section.
I would never drop ska in a baby crawler song.
I love and respect it for what it is and what it's done. And if you play an old 60s stuff, I'm there. But
I'm the same way. I appreciate it, and I can listen to ska here and there, but I am definitely not like
So I was,
Yeah,
but when I heard it, I think it rang my bell. Like, you know, No Doubt was like a band that came from the pop punk scene that like they used ska obviously, but they really leaned into new wave when they became like famous. They kind of the ska beat was there, but it's like that could be a drum machine doing that. That could be that doesn't even that's a sample. That's like She's My Butterfly, Sugar Honey shit. You know what I mean? But like those new wave guitar lines that dude played, like made those songs like delicious in the way that like the Cars songs were, and these like really pop radio songs. So, but also on the same edge of that, like I know that's like a surf guitar kind of a vibe that like guys were coming out of Dead Kennedys type of bands and going into new wave type of bands, and so they're playing this one line stuff. And this kid loves the Dead Kennedys, and
East
so
Ray rules, man.
we started talking about like this is like the Go-Go's meets the Dead Kennedys here. Like, how do we achieve that? And he just in moments had it down. And it's yeah, that's I've
It was
several
such a
people
fun song to do.
several
It really
people have
was.
listened to this and then they're like, I did not expect that. That was like it sounds like the rest of the album too, which is the great thing. It's not like suddenly there's a rap song
I
or
actually played that song for my boss today.
did you really?
Yeah, Chris loves it. So, yeah, like
Shout out Little York Drive Through.
yeah, Chris Andrews. I'm shouting you out, dude. I bet he probably think I'd do that. But yeah, I played that song for my boss today. That was rad. Like,
It's so good. It's so hilarious. Like the concept is so good. It's like as blasphemous as it can be, but it's so happy that you can't help but listen to it. Even if you hate what is happening in the lyrics, you're going to be driving down the street later on going, ah, fuck nuns.
yeah.
Ah, fuck nuns.
Dude, it's a driving song. It
It
really
is,
is,
dude.
man. It's a driver. Like,
That's a good one.
and that guitar solo was really fun to do, Jared. It made me feel like Doyle or something. Like getting yeah, it was rad, dude. And then like, oh man, what a good song. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you guys have done.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. And it was really neat how it came together, and end result was very satisfying.
How long did it take us? We're not quite to the end, but how long did it take us to do this from the beginning of like, hey, you know, I invited you to join the label family. We started talking about what you wanted to do. You had the Books of Blood ideas. Has it been 2 years? Is it just a year?
I think close to 2 years.
Yeah. It's taken us. I think I feel like I remember saying like we'll have it done by Halloween 24. I feel like I remember that happening, but I may be I may be wrong. It took a little longer to come out, but I think it's been well worth the time and effort.
Well, absolutely.
And as we go through this process, I hope to be able to make you because you're the kind of artist that can just crank this work out. Like at some point you may just decide not to anymore, but I want to make this as like easy and cool and good for you to be able to just fill the damn internet with Zipperguts, like good quality. Like Zipperguts is like those maggots in the song. Like one of these little pop gems dropped into a workout playlist or a horror punk playlist could change the freaking world.
Absolutely.
Maybe not that extreme, but you know what I mean? Like
It's a killer band name too, man.
Yeah,
It's
I
real
think
catchy.
it's all
Yeah.
I think it's all great. And I think that we're gonna keep cranking out cool shit together and on into the next millennium. Okay, so we go from I Fuck Nuns to For the Devil, which starts with some cool backwards drumming.
Feel the force growing inside you. Obey the word. Let him command you.
This one
Feast on flesh. Devour for
This one
power.
is in a similar vein to the Discharge influence of Last Rites, but almost goes into like a ministry realm a little bit in how mechanical it is. Tell me about this song. Where did this one come from?
So lyrically it was very heavily inspired by the 80s Satanic Panic, you know, like it's just a lot of fun to pick that apart. But like, musically, I was really heavily listening to Midnight at the time of writing that. It's basically my own personal homage to what Midnight does, only in the format of Zipperguts.
I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it. It's got that sort of forward momentum. Again, with the Motorhead reference, obviously Midnight wears the Motorhead logo on their sleeves, literally.
Yeah, right.
So you know, it's there, and that's like, you know, I don't like to use World War I or II references, you know, but this is like tanks across the battlefield kind of stuff. This is Motorhead territory, like Mad Max style,
Right.
burning down your world kind of vibe, and an amazing sort of pre-ending to the whole thing. And then we get to the last track, which is Ritual. It starts out with that just aggressive bass clunk. Real classical metal with, I like the double bass.
Altar of stone, pile of bones, bloodstained romance, wistful chance. Your time has come. We should have run. Another victim of the ritual.
Oh, I think that's me.
Yeah, that's you, buddy.
I thought it needed an old man solo.
Absolutely did.
There's so much new wave of British heavy metal influence in that song. I don't know if that was in your head, but I hear something that is all at once whole chamber and Saxon in that song. Like, it's dirty and weird, but it's got that almost funky beat to it, and it's got the cute Dance Macabre or whatever. What is that music called? What's the classical music that you play at the beginning?
Pumpkin Patch Burgers by Blitzkid, like that starts off like that, kind of similar, and that's
I mean,
what I was kind of channeling there.
It's Chopin's Funeral March. Chopping.
Okay.
It's from Chopping. Yeah, that's some Chopin that you actually were quoting there. We'll edit this to look good. So when did you get into Chopin?
Hello,
This was the TV monstrosity version of Chopin that influenced you, which I think is, again, that's those maggots, that's those mind worms. Like, you have a classical music background thanks to some boys from Bristol.
Yeah, and
So that song kicks in. That song kicks in with the Chopin, which I think put me right in new wave of British heavy metal times, because all of that stuff was just, all of the Shredder guys just wanted to be classical. So when I came up with that guitar solo, I wanted Cory to do all the solos on this, but I just could hear it, and I went for the most like British dude playing a Maiden solo, but not like overly like dual guitars, flighty. Like, this is like first album Maiden solo stuff. I thought that was the way to go for that little bit of solo there. And I'm just not that good of a guitar player, so.
Oh, don't cut yourself.
When it comes back to the Chopin bit for like the mosh beatdown part, like, I want Billy Milano to come out and just start beating everybody up. Like, that thing is so hard. The Scotty Ian just fucking comes running through the video. But that and so ends the Books of Blood. So is the story finished? Is there more to come?
as far as that particular character goes, yes. So essentially, the progression of the album is we've got the preface, which tells us something's wrong with this guy. Then we get the story of what happened. By the end of it, he is so convoluted in his delusions that he's trying to, you know, resurrect ancient, basically Lovecraftian old gods. And in turn, all he does is end up destroying the fucking world.
It's over. So can you take this character farther if he's destroyed the world? Where does this character go?
That's yet to be determined. I have
Okay.
actually started writing a new album already.
Well, I'm going to lead to that because I know that the next album that you're working on has a sort of almost, to me, you got to tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is a cleansing after the atrocities that this character commits on women in this album. The next album is it's a Zipperguts Riot Girl album essentially, isn't it?
So I'm drawing inspiration again from exploitation film and grindhouse, because that's kind of what Zipper Guts is fed off of. And I'm taking cues from the first version of A Spit on Your Grave, and I'm calling this album Day of the Woman. And every track will be either about a woman survivor of something horrific, ergo, revenge horror, or a woman killer in general. Like, I've
Eileen
actually,
Wuornos.
yes, I've
I
written
think
one
we
specifically
discussed
about
Eileen.
her.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. It's like the Zipperguts Girl Power album. Are you thinking about having guest artists on this album? Like, are we gonna tap
There have been some ideas floating around. I don't quite know how to pull it off yet, but I am actively thinking, in along those lines.
Excellent. Well, we can't wait to help bring it to life.
Yeah, man.
So moving forward with Zipperguts, this album, this is an album recorded not in big fancy studios on tape, or fancy digital consoles. This was recorded on sort of home computers, using limited production budget, meaning no production budget. We sent tracks back and forth across the country. Many people were involved in making this thing happen. The next level up in as far as our production side goes, because Jared's here to do Jared's version, which is to just keep coming up with the lineage of stories that is the Zipperguts universe. And then on a production level, we're going to keep making these things more and more banger. So we're moving into real drums. These drums, kids, I'm sorry, are not always real drums. Most often, these are not real drums. These are MIDI patches that we've sampled, or not sampled, but built and looped and turned into things, and to make it sound as much like a real guy as we can. And then we run them through all kinds of computer stuff to make them sound like it's a real dude in a room. We're going to start doing it with a real dude in a room, just because it's a step in that, the direction of really controlling and making the cooler thing. So real dude in a room on drums, or non-dude, a real human on drums in a room. We're going to be either playing through and recording real tabs on our end when we do bass or guitar, or anything on these things. And then I'm going to work with Jared to be able to get guitar tracks and stems that I can reamp up here through our vintage stuff. We've got 60s Marshalls, we've got cool Fender stuff. We can run these things through really nice amps and get really cool sounds. So I look forward to really putting the magic into the next record. And it's Day of the Woman, right? It's one for the girls. So I got daughters. So this is one we're going to put extra time and love into. And we've got Shockwaves 3D coming soon. There's a new Zipperguts track that's going to be on there that we're going to be doing a lot of that stuff with. We're gonna Nick doesn't know it yet, but Nick from the Creepy Crawlers is gonna play drums on that song. And
He's a good drummer, man.
we're gonna get that together. A lot of cool people are gonna be on Shockwaves 3. So we've got CDs for sale on, and I'll put a link up. We have CDs for Books of Blood for sale. The vinyl link is going up. We've had some issues with the vinyl. But the vinyl is going to come with a 12-page booklet. It's going to be very, very next level product. So,
But yeah, that booklet is, I think, is very much, you need the vinyl because that's gonna, that's got the lyrics in it, and it's just as much of a manifesto as it sounds.
yeah. So the book essentially is handwritten pages in the killer's hand, sometimes with some blood. And there are, in addition to the lyrics to the songs, there are sort of notes and that sidebar about what he's going through as he's writing and communicating this all. What were you gonna say, Cole?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there, to anybody listening. Like, I don't know if you guys are shirt guys. I love a good shirt. Zipperguts has a killer logo, and you should get a Zipperguts shirt. I know I'm going to get one. And where would they get one, Chad?
Same place on the fourth wall.
Hell
I'll put
yeah.
it up.
Right? Yeah. I seriously, man, that's such a killer logo, and like, dude, I can't. I'm gonna get a shirt, dude. I gotta have a Zipperguts shirt.
We're gonna put up all kinds of new merch soon, and it's wintertime, so we'll have time to be building some of this stuff out. So I can't wait to see what you do next. And we're our next episode, we're going to be talking to Braden from 84 Tapes, and we're going to do a deep dive into their latest album. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Watch the old episodes if they're still up. Some of them are probably coming down. Have a good one.
Enter the shock pod at your own risk.
Presented by HorrorShock Media. This is a horror punk and shock rock podcast hosted by Reverend Chad Wells.